Welcome to Move, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is Move. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Move. We are so excited to continue moving our bodies. Remember, Move is intended to help us improve our metabolism, not just by moving our bodies, but also to begin imagining the movement that happens in our mind, in our emotions, in our spirit. But that all starts with the physical. So metabolic optimization via exercise. And, you know, one of the things I often find myself doing is remembering and thinking about stuff that's undone. Have you ever had something that was not quite finished? Maybe it's an email, maybe it's, some project. In fact, last night, I went to sleep early and I woke up this morning probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And there have been some things that have been on my mind that I needed to do for work, some things I needed to do for some personal projects. And they just continued to spiral in my brain. And so I got up this morning, got on the computer, and I knocked those out. And when I was done, just the feeling of having those things checked off of my list was incredible. And I know you've probably had that happen to you. Often I'll have people say to me, hey, I can't sleep, or I wake up, I can't go back to sleep. And I'll ask them, what are you thinking about? They say, oh, something that I needed to do for work. And that's called the Zeigarnik effect. And that is that the brain remembers those things that are undone. The brain remembers. The mind continually rehearses those things over and over and over. It's almost like it fears that it's going to forget, and so it keeps going at it. And that takes energy. And so one of the things that happens in our lives is we start things, we get into things, and if they're not finished, if they're not done, then that has a profound effect on our psyche, has an effect on our sleep, has an effect on our memory, it has an effect on our focus. And so we are taking energy away from other things because we're continually rehearsing that. One of the things that I tell people to do sometimes is to go ahead and write it down, particularly if you're having trouble sleeping. Write it down. And once it comes out of your head, once it comes out of your mind, then you're more likely to be able to get a good night's rest. But even better than that, you know what's better than writing it down? What's better than writing it down is actually finishing. Right? And so as we talk about getting across that line, it's important to, develop the momentum. It's important to do those little things that we need to do. But that finishing is so powerful because the finishing does a lot of things for us. And I'm waiting for the car to go by here. The finishing does a lot of stuff, a lot of things for us. It helps us to put our energies and our focus on the thing that's going on right now. So the power of now says that right now I'm okay. Right now, if I am focusing on what's happening right now, then I have the ability to concentrate. It does not take energy away from me. It allows me to continually process and continually do and continually move in a forward direction. But if I'm always thinking about the past or I'm thinking about the future, then I'm diverting energy and I'm not living in the moment. And so when we finish, when we complete, when we're able to go across that finish line, then we take all of those resources now in terms of our mental capacity and our thought process and our emotional energies, and we can direct them in the way for the thing that we need to do next. And so what we want to do is we want to continually work on finishing what we start. That may be something as simple as finishing that email, maybe as simple as saving that $100 that you said you were going to save, maybe as simple as deciding that you were going to make that phone call to that person who you're having some challenging relationships with. But certainly as simple as getting up, lacing up your shoes, and going for the walk, because that finishes today. Or as simple as going out to your exercise area, wherever that may be, in your garage, in your bonus room, and doing a set of whatever it is, hammer curls, presses, lateral raises. It may be as simple as doing your 5-minute circuit, right, with some squats and some leg swings, cross-body leg swings, maybe some pelvic tilts. And how about this? It may be as simple as saying, okay, now I've completed putting my regiment, my routine together. So finishing is very important, and that takes the power away from that mental gymnastics that we have to play just to remember those things. So as we talk about our bodies, as we talk about our health, there are so many times that we have committed to ourselves. So many times that we've said that we are going to do what we need to do to be healthy. So many times that we have maybe even started an exercise routine or starting a diet plan. And we no longer want to have those things hanging over us. We want to complete them. Because if we complete them, then what we're doing is we're freeing up resources. And when we complete them, guess what? We're making progress. Because every time you take a step, every time you make a move, every time you do some strength training, what you're doing is you're making a dent in the dysfunction in the metabolism, and you are remaining consistent. So as we continue our move series, or our move lifestyle, we probably should call it now, we are finishers. And that's the other thing that finishing does. It helps with the identity. Because right now we may not be fully engaged and fully trusting ourselves to be the person who is making the decision for health. But when we finish, then our body says, oh yeah, that's what we do. That's where we are. I gave the example of going through medical school and driving away at the end of my training from residency. So think about that, all the way through medical school and then through residency. And on that last day when I was driving away, I was finished. Oh yeah, I was done. There was no more to be had. There was no more to do. And the feeling that came along with that, and the energy, the confidence that came with that was immeasurable. And so every time you are completing something, that is the power that you're giving yourself. It builds momentum, because once you see one thing successful, once you see you're able to do one thing, then that builds momentum for that thing. But it also builds momentum for other things that may be in your life. Because if I can do this thing, I can certainly apply those same skills to do something else. I don't have to know that other thing. I just have to know that I have the capacity, I have the ability to complete something. And now all I've got to do is I've got to go learn. about that other thing, right? So notice when I am finishing in one area, that gives me power, it gives me momentum, it gives me confidence in another area. And that's powerful. In your physical, mental, emotional, social / relational, what am I going through now? That's the domains of health. As you are thinking about each of those spaces, when we do an inventory to see how we're doing in different aspects, different parts of our lives, finishing gives us momentum and gives us power over the other parts. Let me pause right there, right? Because we just said that if I finish in one area, if I complete that concept of me continually putting energy into that space, I now can take that energy and put it into other places. And because of that, I have the capacity now to deal with other areas of my life that I may not have been able to deal with because of lack of energy, because of focus, because of whatever the thing is. But now I have the ability to do that because I've completed one. So as you're thinking also about your health, one of the challenges that comes in is history. The history of how we have managed our health. And at some point we get to the place where we begin thinking of maybe the damage that we've done. We begin thinking of the wasted time that we have given up. And that itself begins putting these things on our list. Oh man, I need to go do this. Oh man, I need to go do that. Oh man, I need to go correct that. And one of the most dangerous parts of this whole process is that memory that we have, the memory of the past. Because the memory of the past adds so much to our unfinished list. I want you to hear me. When we've not dealt with those things that are behind us, it shows up on today's checklist because it's something that we've not done, we've not finished, we've not completed. And if you are not careful, what begins happening is those regrets, those unfinished pieces, those places where we don't want to look, where we're ashamed to look at, they're on that checklist. And when they're on the checklist, our mind is distracted. Now, you may not consciously be thinking about that thing, thinking about that person, thinking about that event, but it's on the checklist. And we've just said that when it's on the checklist, your brain is thinking about it. Okay, so even though you are not sitting down and quote unquote pining over it, the brain still remembers, and it is one of those checklists. So one of the most important things on that checklist is finishing, dealing with. And when I say finishing, dealing with and bringing to a conclusion those things that are in our past that we may feel regret, may feel doubt, may feel shame about. All of those come into play. And once again, notice that it's not a separate thing. It is, just today I was talking to a patient, and when I go into a room, one of the very first things I say after I say good afternoon, good morning, I say is, what's been going on in your life these days? Or what's happening with you? And often people would think that I am simply being cordial, I'm simply being friendly, and I am. But a big part of that is my understanding that the things that happen on our day-to-day, in our day-to-day lives have profound effects on our health. And if it's another checklist, another part of the checklist that we've not completed, then it can have profound effects on our blood sugars, on our stress level, both of which causes elevated cortisol and causes elevated insulin. And we know that insulin is at the base or the heart of metabolic dysfunction. And so ultimately now that stuff that we didn't deal with in the past shows up as part of the checklist, as part of the unfinished business. And because it's unfinished, our focus gets taken away and back to this cascade that we've been talking about. Right? So in your evaluation of where you are, in your evaluation of what you need to do, in your evaluation of finishing, you want to make sure that you are not pigeonholing your thoughts and your process into the immediate stuff. There's some things back there that we've got to all go and deal with, myself included. I'm going to put my hand up, right? Because there's some things that I have deliberately, subconsciously, whatever it is, that I've said, okay, I'm not going to deal with that right now. But once again, unfinished business shows up in our lives. So part of what I want you to do, right? That's part of what I want you to do as we kind of deal with the Ziknik effect, this unfinished business, is I want you to find something this week. I shouldn't even say find something this week. I want you to find something today that you're going to finish. Maybe it's an email. Maybe it's a conversation that you've got to make. It's a call that you've got to do. Maybe it is a person that you've got to reach out to that says, hey, I'm not letting this stay on my list anymore. I changed my angle because there were some folks walking around. Right? So what are you going to do? What is that thing that you need to address? So don't wait. I don't want this to be homework. Okay? Because when it's homework, then we put it off and we go, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. No, you're listening to this video, you're walking with me right now. As you get to the end of that, I want you to think of that thing that you're going to do and just do it. In fact, I'm thinking of something right now that I've got to do. I've got an email earlier today from someone that needs me to do something, and I've been putting it off. So my first thing is going to be respond to the email. So when I get back into the office, that's going to be my thing. All right, finishing that, just getting that off my list. Because like I said, I woke up this morning and so many things that I checked off, and some of them were simple, but they had been piling up over and over and over, and they just were taking my energy. So think about it. What's that one thing that you're going to finish right now? Respond to the email, make a phone call, put your shoes, put your workout clothes in your bag, put them at the door, and let's finish. Let's finish strong. Let's cross that line. Because when we cross that line, it gives us immeasurable benefits. And that is, after all, what we're looking for. Remember, we're looking for long, healthy life. And if we're going to be around for a long time, and if we're going to be healthy for a long time, then we've got to do everything we can to be successful. Lots of cars coming around me. So finishing isn't simply about discipline. It gives you freedom. It gives you energy. It gives you confidence. It gives you momentum. And all of those are things that we need if we're going to be successful over the long haul. So move. Metabolic optimization via exercise comes as a method, as a platform, as a framework that you can use as you're exercising, as you're running, as you're walking, as you're rowing, as you're doing strength training. It is a way for you to make sure that you're doing all you can do. You're putting in all your resources to do what you need to do to be successful. And after all, limitless living says that we're not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're showing up with our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our lives. We're breaking through the boundaries. We're breaking through those obstacles. We're pushing through the things that conspire to confine us, and we're going to be successful. So let's get out there and let's move. We'll see you in our next episode.
Thank you for being a part of Move Today. Remember, transformation isn't built in hype. It's built in consistent steps. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Keep showing up, keep stacking your wins, and keep moving forward with us. This is Move.